بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وإن قام الزوج والبينة على سكوتها ثبت النكاح. And if the husband establishes proof that she kept quiet, then a nikah will be established. So yesterday we mentioned it, Masla, that he told her afterwards, uh, what's her name? He told her that the nikah, the news of the nikah reached you and you kept quiet, and she said, no, I rejected. Nevertheless, on this here, your husband brings proof, then his proof will be established. لأنه نور دعواه بالحجة, because he has enlightened his claim with the proof. وإن لم تكن له بينة, and if he doesn't have proof, ولا يمين عليها, there is no oath upon her, according to Imam Hanifa rahmatullah alayh. So normally in the case where you are told to bring a proof, you put a claim in, al-bayyinatu al-mudda'i wal-yaminu ala man ankara. The proof is upon the one who puts a claim in, right? So you put the claim in, and then you said, you owe me 1,000. And he said, no, I don't owe you 1,000. He rejected. I must bring proof. If you can't bring proof, then he told him, then you just take an oath, you don't owe him. He takes an oath, then the case, he throws the case out of the court, right? Now, so here also, what happened is now he doesn't have proof. Then she's supposed to take an oath, right? That she rejected. You understand it? But here in this particular masla, they say here also the no oath upon according to Imam Bonifa. وهي مسألة الاستحلاف في الأشياء الستة وسيأتيك في الدعوة إن شاء الله تعالى. And it is the mas'ala of taking an oath in 6 things, and soon it will come to you in the Kitab al-Dawah inshallah ta'ala. In other words, these are 6 things: nikah, raj'at, fay, ila, rik, istila, nasab, but more than 6. That where Imam Hanifa rahimahullah says that the denier doesn't even have to take an oath, right? ويجوز نكاح الصغير والصغيرة إذا زوجهما الولي بكرا كانت الصغيرة كانت الصغيرة أو ثيبا. And the nikah of a small boy and small girl is permissible when the wali marries them off, whether that small girl was a virgin or a non-virgin, right? And right. So firstly, now the wali's got the power to marry off his small child, the non-baligh, right? Right. Well, wali wal asabatu. So who's the wali firstly? The wali is all the male relatives. So and then you go in tartib, you understand? Who's the male relatives? Your strongest male relative, your son, grandson. We didn't inheritance, you understand it? Then you go father, grandfather. So most of the time it's going to be father because it's a small child. So it's father, grandfather going up. You understand it? Right. وَمَالِكٌ يُخَالِفُنَا فِي غَيْرِ الْأَبِي. Imam Malik rahmallah, he differs with us in besides the father. He says that only the father's got the power to do this, nobody else, right? وَالشَّافِي فِي غَيْرِ الْأَبِي وَالْجَدِّ وَفِي الثَّيِّبِ الصَّغِيرَةِ أَيْضًا. And Imam Shafi rahmallah, he differs with us in other than the father and the grandfather. He says only the father and grandfather has got the power to marry off the small child, right? And then also he says when it's a Sayyiba Saghira, a small girl who was married already, and you understand it? And Jima was made with her. So Sayyiba Saghira. So they also, he says that the father doesn't have the authority to marry her off. You understand it? Wajhu qawli Malik. And the reason of the statement of Imam Malik, أن الولاية على الحرة باعتبار الحاجة, that the authority over the free woman is with consideration of need. Right? So in other words, what he says here, the only reason you've got authority, firstly, this is a free woman, right? This is a free woman. And for somebody else to be telling a free woman what to do, or controlling the free woman's life, that there needs to be a need for that, right? There needs to be a need for that. So you're right. وَلَا حَاجَةَ لِإِنْعِدَامِ الشَّهْوَةِ. And there is no need because there is no desire. The small child got no desire, so there's no need. You understand what you're saying? There's no need that will give somebody the authority to marry off a small child because there's no desire. Right. إلا أن ولاية الأب ثبتت نصا, except that the authority of the father has been established via text. So now you leave out the akal. You understand it? And you take the nas. بخلاف القياس, contrary to qiyas. Remember always, when something is khilafik, you say qiyas, yaktasiru ala mawradi. It is confined to the place where it was revealed. So Imam Malik is saying that it only came about the father having the authority. So that's where we leave it. Because this goes against qiyas. Why is it against qiyas? Because you are ruling a free woman. You understand it? Right. وَالْجَدُّ لَيْسَ فِي مَعْنَاهُ فَلَا يَلْحَقُ بِهِ. And the grandfather is not in the meaning of the father. So he won't be joined up with the father. So he says only the father, right? قُلْنَا لَا بَلْ هُوَ مُوَافِقٌ لِلْقِيَاسِ. So we answer him now. We say rather this marrying of a small child is coinciding with logic. لأن النكاح يتزمن المصالح, because nikah includes many benefits. A nikah, you understand, it includes great things. You understand it? ولا تتوفر إلا بين المتكافئين عادة. And this cannot be received in full except between two such people who are compatible normally. You understand it? Getting married now, you get married to somebody who's on your level. Because you used to fish and chips and maybe curry and rice. And you getting married to somebody who likes putu and pap and flies. You're going to find it difficult. You understand it? So you rather get married to somebody who's on your level. وَلَا يَتَّفِقُ الْكُفُوفُ فِي كُلِّ زَمَانٍ. And this compatibility is not found in every time. You understand it? It's something that you're not going to get it. If you lose it now, if you miss it now, you're not going to find it maybe afterwards. فَأَثْبَتْنَا الْوِلَايَةَ فِي حَالَةِ الصِّغْرِ إِحْرَازًا لِلْكُفُوِّ. So we have established the authority in the condition of being small age to protect the kufu. So this father here now sees his daughter here, or that father sees his son there, and they've noticed a suitable match. And they also realize if we don't get them married now, then that kufu will be lost. So they get one another married. You understand it? Right. Wajhu qawli Shafi. The reason of the call of Imam Shafi, rahmatullah alayhi, right? أن النظر لا يتم بالتفويض إلى غير الأب والجد لقصور شفقته. That there's compassion, right? This compassion and this looking out for the child, right, is not complete by handing it over to other than the father and the grandfather due to the deficiency of his compassion. So what Imam Shafi is saying, that other than the father and the grandfather, they will not take advantage of the child. They will have that compassion and see that the child gets married. They'll be only looking out for the child. You understand it? But the other walis won't have that. Right? لِكُسُورِ شَفْقَةٍ. Why? Due to less compassion. وَبُعْدِ قَرَابَتِهِ. And the distance of his relationship. Because now if he's not the father, grandfather, then you're going to the brother, then you're going to the uncle. You understand it? So their relationship is now a bit further. ولهذا لا يملك التصرف في المال مع أنه أدنى رتبة فلئلا يملك تصرف في النفس وأنه أعلى أولى. So now Imam Shafi'i explains here. He says, for this reason you find that even you Ahnaf says, right? He doesn't own transacting in wealth, despite the fact that wealth is lower in rank. Then to a greater extent, he shouldn't have the power to transact in life, in nafs, whilst it is higher than wealth. So he says that even you people don't allow, besides father and grandfather, to transact in the child's wealth. So how are you allowing, besides father and grandfather, to decide the future of the child by getting her married or getting him married? You understand it? That's what Imam Shafi'i says against the Ahnaf. وَلَنَا أَنَّ الْقَرَابَةَ دَاعِيَةٌ إِلَى النَّظْرِ كَمَا فِي الْأَبِ وَالْجَدِّ. Our dalil is that being a close relative invites towards compassion. just as is in the father and the grandfather. The fact that the person is the uncle, or the fact that the person is the brother of the child, that will that is means that person will have compassion, right? Just as the father and grandfathers got compassion for the child. وما فيه من القصور أظهرناه في سلب ولاية الإلزام. And what is in them, in other than the father and the grandfather, from deficiency in compassion, we have made it apparent in removing wilayatul ilzam. We have made it apparent in removing wilayatul ilzam. What does this mean? This means that yes, the other relatives, uncle, brother, etc., we acknowledge they've got compassion, but not as much as the father and grandfather. So what we've done is we've given them wilayatul ijbar. They can forcefully marry of the small boy and small girl, but they don't have wilayatul ilzam as the father and the grandfather have, which is that after the child the child becomes baligh, they can't opt out if the father and grandfather marry them off. But anybody else marry them off, then after they become baligh, they've got that ability to opt out. You understand it? Right. بخلاف التصرف في المال. Okay, leave it till there because now that will have to explain that. So if you can understand that, you get wilayatul ilzam and wilayatul ijbar. Wilayatul ilzam is where the father and grandfather, that's what they've got. They marry the child off, the child becomes baligh, can't opt out. It's a different, now that's from the girl side. The different thing, the boy now, if you make baligh, you can give talaq. You understand it? So that's when the father and grandfather marries them off. But if other than they married them off, they only had wilayatul ijbar, but not wilayatul ilzam. So they got the option of opting out once they become baligh. Leave it till there.